in this space than Gary Gensler in the SEC. This amendment is designed to send an important signal, not just to the SEC, but to every regulatory entity in the federal government. Congress will hold unelected bureaucrats accountable.
You tell them, Tom. That's right. An amendment's proposed to limit the power of Gary Gensler until we decide if it's a security or a commodity. Oil is backing off big time, which may prove some relief for cryptos out there. We're going to talk XRP, XLM price action, along with one of the craziest maxis out there. In the green, over $1 billion. Would you sell or would you hodl for more? Catapost777 says, at the moment, YouTube has a scam commercial of XRP using Brad in a fake voice with the QR code. Come on now, man. Yes, I know, and the problem is you see these scams go around and they make their rounds and they're getting better and better and all this AI crap, and we're talking about protecting people, yet we can't even fix this. Come on now. Bitcoin sitting at 37,307. Thanks, by the way, for sharing that, as I've had 5 different messages letting me know about the scam. ETH 2092, the pump's still rolling. XRP sitting at 66 cents with XLM right now sitting at 12.3. Market seems to have hit its bottom within the last 24 hours. Little bit of relief. But remember, when we zoom out, everyone, we're still in the green by a good amount. Just in, crypto lender Holdout begins liquidation. But first, let's talk about Emmer. We've got some problems here because that bill will have some problems getting through because the Senate does not want to change that power structure right now with the SEC. They're using the SEC as a tool to fuel their agenda. Now, that's not me picking sides, but the SEC has recently been in trouble with, I don't know, going after the green agenda a little bit. That's right. Having to disclose climate-related stuff in regards to securities. Why does the SEC even need to get involved with that? So as you can see, that aligns with that agenda. So Emmer has got a great idea. You should not be allowed to rule on something that doesn't have any laws related to it. Because Emmer is like, yo, look, we don't even have laws for this tech. We don't even know if it's a security or if it's a commodity. So until that happens, you can't use our money. Seriously, that should be the law. We know it won't pass. But let's get back to about holding out liquidation. Why are they beginning their liquidation now? Because the court is like, yo, you are not going to restructure. Your plans that you've submitted for restructuring, they suck. So no, we're not going to do that. What's best for the shareholders is if we liquidate you. So the court's stepping in saying, no more of these plans, let's sell. Oh man, liquidators have filed a winding up order against distressed crypto lender, which has severely tried to avoid liquidation. Holdout's efforts in this regard have failed as creditors were resistant to the proposal. These creditors say preferred liquidation to Holdout's proposed restructuring plans. The idea that they preferred liquidation, of course, because they would get more. Holdout's restructuring plans, they were basically sitting there going, look, you're just going to try to milk our money for longer? Per a Bloomberg report, Algorand Foundation, one of Holdout's creditors, opened in a court filing that liquidation will maximize the company's remaining assets available for distribution. So I bring this up because there's a whole bunch of bankruptcies out there, a whole bunch. And we're going to be getting into their liquidation phases here. And I find it ironic that we're reading more and more about these liquidation phases because we're going through FTXs while the market's in a bull market. It's like these liquidators all knew that at this time they could wait for it to pump just enough and dump it. Oil, third losing week. One of the market's loudest bulls admits buyers have vanished. Okay, pumps and dumps isn't just something with crypto. It happens in markets all over the globe, okay? And oil's one of them. Oil, okay, when the whole Middle East action started firing up a few weeks ago, I put some plays in. All right, put some plays in. I took some real quick profits, and then I had some positions in, and then I kind of went sideways on them, and I was like, that just sucked. Like, it just sucked, okay? So the oil pump, we were all sitting there going, okay, wait a minute. Middle East action ramps up. Oil is just going to suck all this energy out. Well, it didn't. It's not every day that you get to read a Phil Flynn note that's virtually bearish on oil. He's like an oil permeable. Like, think of like a sailor type thing, but of oil. But to hear one of the market's loudest oil bulls admit that people have been fleeing the long crude game like rats abandoning a sinking ship should be a wake-up call to those who kept drumming for return for $100 pricing in recent weeks. The petroleum buyers are gone. Unless you're taking oil call options as supply and demand take a backseat to rising macroeconomic fears, Flynn wrote, as crude futures headed for a third straight week of losses. Maybe the buyers of oil have been taken away from the mothership, or maybe they're just ridden off into the sunset. But the reality is we're seeing a short oil position of epic proportions as the market seems to remove the risk of ever rising again. Now, this is another economic indicator that we could use. If the oil market is soft, the oil market and what they're referring to here being soft has to do with just general lack of demand. The reason there's general lack of demand is because we're not going to be growing as fast because money's expensive. So construction projects, you're not going to see as many of them because it costs so much more because interest is so much higher. Travel, right? If people are maxing out their credit cards, if credit is getting blown out, they're not going to be traveling as much. It means we're not going to be going into jet fuel. There's a whole bunch of things out here that people are saying, look, okay, we get it. Rates aren't going to be an issue, but slow economic growth might be. And here's one of them, right? One of your biggest bulls in oil is like, yo, the bulls have run away, man. Like they're done. Like they've been yanked. Money's moving. Pumps and dumps happen everywhere. I played gold like recently and did very, very well, but like I knew it couldn't hold 2,000. It's kind of like the same thing with these crypto plays. We're sitting there in all these different markets going, look, none of these plays are holding. MicroStrategy, nuts, went big. I deleted the article. I'll be right back with it. Did you catch that? I literally clicked out of the window. MicroStrategy up 49% over the last 30 days amid Bitcoin surge. Okay, Sailor's nuts, we get it. He's been buying the dip. He's been really big and public about buying the dip. But I started off the video with saying, look, if you're sitting on 1.2 billion in profits, are you selling or are you hodling for more? Now, we obviously know Sailor's answer. He's hodling for more. But you never went broke taking profits. You would never go broke taking 1.2 billion. Listen to these numbers. Tell me what you would do. As MicroStrategy CEO in August 2020, Michael Saylor started the Bitcoin Gambit with 21,454 Bitcoin purchase worth about $250 million at the time. Although Saylor resigned as CEO in August 22, turning to executive chairman duties, the Bitcoin strategy continued. Until November 1st of 2023, the company accumulated 158,000 Bitcoins at an average price of $29,000. The bet yielded $1.2 billion in unrealized profits. He is sitting on $1.2 billion in gains. No worry, we're going to get into XRP, XLM price talk. But I'm bringing this up because what happens when he wants to start realizing those gains? I mean, like, is he just going to be a hoarder and not spend it? But I mean, seriously, what happens when one of your biggest bulls out there is like, yo, I'm selling. I need to make some money. I need to make some fiats. Got to pay for some bills. I can't buy this with Bitcoin. You know, something like that. And I brought it up because earlier I talked to you about the oil permabull. And he said the same thing. He's like, yo, the people have left, right? And that's what I'm saying. What would happen when the permabull starts selling? Starts realizing some of these profits? Or is the strategy just to keep growing unrealized profits? Then you're going to have Bitcoin become super centralized, and so centralized that if Saylor were to ever sneeze and think of selling a single BTC, the market would just shake and fall apart, and the whole crypto market would go with it. So it's weird because I get it. Saylor's buying the dips. He's doing, he's stacking, he's hodling. But he's also becoming such a big player in this that any move he makes could ruin it for all of us. Think about that. Mr. Sleeping with a Bitcoin teddy bear himself. If he were to start selling, what the hell is going to happen? People are going to freak out. All right. This is what we saw yesterday. Not cool, man. Not cool at all. XLM just hit that 13-cent mark, and then there you go. Took some retreat action right there, down about 10% on that move. XRP breaching 70 cents. We were excited. We had 3 different breaches here at that 70-cent mark, and then look what happened again. Took us from that 70-cent mark to sub 65. Not good, everyone. And this was all at the time of the ETH ETF launch. ETF launch with Ethereum. And here we are going, you know what? Ethereum ETF, yeah, bad for crypto. What? No, Ethereum ETF, good for crypto. But XRP and XLM just, man, you just did not see the reaction on that. Zoom out a little bit here on XLM and you're like, oh man, we're starting our path on down. Same thing with XRP. It's like, okay, cool. Was 70 cents this move? If we zoom out a little bit further and we start talking towards action, we're like, okay, are we going to be repeating this same thing? You had the pump up that could not hold it, and then you just started moving on the way down. Why? Because the expectations were too high. Expectations for reality play a very big part in all of this. The expectations are, you know, moon, God candle, right? We're just rocket ship. You know, we're going to go from 65 cents to like $20 within like 2 minutes. It's going to happen so fast you can't even think about it. But when you don't see those moves materializing, the market seems to be selling off on that action. I'm watching this very closely, and I'm sitting here with the same emotions that you are. Let down that the move isn't stronger, but I'm still happy because for the year, we're still up. But these moves here out of nowhere don't make any sense, especially when ETH is tied closer to securities than Bitcoin. So if you had an approval of something that was more securities-based, that would definitely pump up the markets more for securities-leaning cryptos. This is baffling a bunch of us out there. Now, the move on XLM was nowhere near as severe as XRP. But XLM now is almost showing kind of like the same thing. We're looking at the Taurus thing going, okay, well, wait a minute. Not as big of a move on up, right? We've talked about XLM being the laggard here. MEP, I gotcha. But look at this. We're at 12.2. Now, I talked about liquidations earlier. And I talk about liquidations because look at this. For the 1 year. All right? For the 1 year. If we talk about, hey, FTX just happened, we're right there. Right around 10 cents up at 12 for XLM. For XRP, right here. 38 to 66. So XRP definitely made the juicier move. But isn't it ironic, though, now that as we look at the chart here and we see this move up, we look at the chart here and we see this move up, we start hearing more about liquidations. People are wanting their money. The Holdout thing, this is the court stepping in saying, yo, creditors need to get paid. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of these holdouts out here that creditors are going to be like, you know what? While the market is pumping, we want to get as much as we can. Because there's a lot of sentiment out there forward-looking that's negative about growth. Crypto is going to be based on growth. So I brought up the oil story where even the oil bull is like, look, the future looks bleak. There's not going to be any demand for it because we're just going to be not growing much globally. He's worried about macroeconomic conditions. Well, if oil is going to face some weakness, what happens to the crypto market after we keep dealing with one after another of people liquidating, going, you know what, while we're pumping here, while we're getting more than what we have over this last year, because remember, most of these liquidations now are about a year old. FTX is 1 year old. Celsius is a year and a half. Holding up over a year, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that down below. I believe they're over a year. There were so freaking many of them, I can't keep up with them. But that's the deal. If you're sitting there at a loss, you know, and now all of a sudden you're at a year and you've got the chance to pull the trigger, you take in the profits. Look at Sailor. Sailor is not taking the profits. Unrealized gains of 1.2 billion. People here, the liquidators, the holdouts, the FTXs, those asset holders, those creditors are looking at these upswings going, yo, we gotta take the profits. So you're seeing a definite battle between the hodlers out there and the people that need that cash now. JG Wentworth, 877 cash now. The Sailor's situation is starting to make me nervous because as he accrues more BTC, what he does with it becomes more important to the market. Bitcoin has been the player of the market that's been pulling things up and down. So if the biggest bull out there starts selling, people are going to be like, yo, is he jumping ship? We got to go too. The market freaked out when Elon wrote down his Bitcoin holdings. He didn't even sell. He just wrote them down, right? Because they were in a loss from that time period. So he was writing them down on his books. Market freaked out on that. Sailors start selling, man, we'd all be in some big time trouble. And with all these liquidations happening, there will be pressure to sell. Will the market be able to absorb that pressure? Will it be more continuous buying opportunities? There's been a lot of you in the comments out there that are looking at this going, Klaus, look, hey, I don't mind low prices for a while. It's giving me time to accumulate and get my costs down. There's somebody out there that turned this into a silver lining. Good for you. But we get back to the idea of unrealized gains or taking profits. If you're a sailor, what do you do? If you're a creditor and you are owed money, what do you do? Let me know in the comments down below. Today's a recovery day. Gonna go out, enjoy some drinks, get a little stretching session in, ice the hammies, you know how it goes. Big shout out to Reverend Funky for helping us out with the clip. Thank you, kind sir. Yep, the Rev coming in clutch. But yeah, let me know what you would do. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.